Hey my quilty friends, have you noticed that quilting fabric is really breaking the bank these days? Well, I know I sure have. So in this video, I'm going to give you my top tips to save money when you're buying your quilting fabric. Now I'm going to talk about quilting shops, online quilting shops, big box stores, and also new to you fabric. So let me share with you my top tips on saving money when buying your quilting fabric. Well, hang on a second. Before we get started, how much does it actually cost to make a quilt these days? Well, if you're joining me for my mystery block of the month, and I'll put the link down below in case you'd like to check that out, you need 8.5 yards of fabric, and we're making a moderate size, a little bit larger than a throw, so it's not that big, but we need 8.5 yards, and the average cost of a yard is around $13. So if you times 13 by 8.5, that's $110, and we're talking about on the smaller side of a quilt. So if your quilt's bigger, then that cost is going to be much larger. So I don't know about you, but I surely would like to save a little bit of money. So let me show you how. So first up, I want to talk about our local quilting shops. Now, I feel like they're the heart of the quilting community, and we really do need to support them because we don't want them to ever go away. And the way that we can ensure that is by supporting them. And I don't think there's any better way to choose your fabric than to go into a quilting shop, see all the beautiful collections, feel that fabric, and then work out what you're going to buy. And of course you can do courses and all sorts at your local quilting store. But there are some ways to save some money at your local quilting shop. So let's run through some of those. So the advantage of buying your fabric at a quilt shop is that the quality is superior. The thread count is high and the dye quality is superior as well. Plus, their fabric is designed by designers. This is obvious when you walk into a quilt shop how superior the selection is compared to big box stores. So a common misconception is that big box stores are much cheaper, and this used to be the case, but I was quite surprised when I went into Joanne the other day to see that the fabric price point was at $12.99, which is the same as your local quilt shop. So just be careful there, you're not actually saving money sometimes. So the first thing I suggest for quilt shops is to make sure you sign up for their newsletter. That way you'll be in the know about all their sales, promotions, and other fun things that are happening in store. So most shops have sales. It might be a particular fabric line or a theme or even the whole shop, and by signing up for their newsletter you'll know whenever the sales are. It's also useful to follow your favorite quilt shops on social media. I love seeing all the new fabric coming into the shop this way, which is another advantage of quilt shops, is that they are always getting new fabric. Now most quilt shops have a reward system and it's different for every shop. Old Spool Sewing Studio has a loyalty card where if you purchase 10 yards of fabric, you get 25% off your next purchase of fabric tools and supplies. I think that's a great deal and something to be aware of if your local shop offers something similar. Often quilt shops will have a clearance fabric section, either permanently or from time to time. This is fabric they want to move on to make room for new fabric. You can pick up some real bargains in the clearance section at your local quilt shop. Some quilt shops sell scrap fabric. These are usually pieces smaller than a fat quarter or leftovers from samples they've made for the shop. At the Quilted Nest, they have a bin of scraps and you fill up a bag of fabric that you want and buy it by the bagful. Some charge by the ounce, and it's just a really fun way to pick up some smaller pieces at a bargain price. So there's our quilting shops, and I hope you agree there are some great ways to save some money and keep supporting our local quilting stores. So then let's move on to the online shops. Now, there's smaller online shops like my favorite one, which is the Little Quilting Closet. Then there's the bigger ones like Missouri Star Quilt Company and the Fat Quarter Shop. And they have all sorts of different things going on. Let me run through a few of them with you. Don't forget your local quilt shop probably also has an online shop, and you can order online and pick it up in store, which is super handy. For online quilt shops, you should also sign up for the newsletter. One of my favorite small online quilt stores is the Little Quilting Closet, and they are always having sales, and she emails them out to let the customers know when they are. One of the big online shops is Missouri Star Quilt Company, and now they are always having sales and offer great daily deals. They also have what they call a bundle system. Let's say you buy something from the Monday daily sale and then again on the Thursday daily sale, where you can bundle your shipping for the purchases over the week and only pay the shipping once. It's a really neat idea. You can also save 15% on your order by purchasing via my affiliate link. Another big online shop is the Fat Quarter Shop. Their best sale of the year is their annual Black Friday sale with 20% off your total order, and I absolutely love that sale. They also have a sales section and offer 24-hour flash sales with a handful of things at more than 50% off. So if you want to check out any of these shops, I'll make sure I put the links down in the description below. So next up we have the big box stores. Now I know they get a bad rap, and a lot of people don't like to support big box stores, but the reality for many of us is that is where we get our fabric. And when I talk about big box stores, I'm talking about Hobby Lobby, Joanne, Spotlight, which is in Australia and New Zealand, and most countries have a big box store where you can buy quilting fabric from. So my top tip to save money there is to make sure you've signed up for their newsletters. All the different shops have different sales systems, and you need to be on their newsletter so you're getting the emails and know when all their different sales are. So for example, Hobby Lobby, they have their fabric 40% off one week, the next week it's full price, and then the week after it's back at 40% off. So it's basically week on, week off. That's a really easy sales pattern. Joanne is a little bit harder. I haven't actually quite worked that out yet. But one good tip for them is that if you sign up to have the newsletter posted to you, well, they'll actually post you a catalog which has extra coupons on it. Plus you can sign up for the app and there's coupons on there as well. So don't forget to go and check out their clearance area. Most big box stores do have a clearance area, and sometimes that can be up to 70% off, or actually even more sometimes if you're lucky. And they also have a remnants bin, which is usually just end of the bolt fabric that they bundle up and sell off cheaply. And I love rummaging through those remnant bins because you never know what you're going to find at what kind of price. So that's our big box stores. One more shop to mention is Walmart. Now you can get your quilting fabric from Walmart, and it starts off there for a fat quarter at $1. Now, if you're on a really tight budget, well, you really can't beat $1 for a fat quarter. And then the prices just go up from there. They have a lot of fat quarters. They also bundle their fabric and sell it at 1 yard, 2 yard, already pre-cut. And they do have fabric on the bolt. And I also have never been lucky enough to find it, but when their fabric is on clearance, boy, is it on clearance. You can get some really good bargains at Walmart. So then there's one more category for you, and I like to call it the new to you fabric category. Now, I don't like to call it secondhand because it's not really secondhand. It hasn't been used. The fabric is still new. So I thought new to you sounds really nice. Now, there's lots of ways to pick up secondhand fabric, and we all know we have fabric we'd like to get rid of and pass on. So that comes to my first idea, is to have a swap, like a little swap meet with your friends. Get your friends together that quilt and swap your fabric. Or I know that they do these at quilt guilds and all sorts of other places. It's just a really neat way that money doesn't have to change any hands. You're just swapping your fabric and everyone wins. So then we come to the local thrift stores and op shops. Now, boy, you can get some bargains there. And if you're really lucky, you might even pick up a little bit of vintage fabric. I know fabric does come through those doors, but it goes out pretty fast. So you've got to be on the lookout and visiting regularly to be lucky to pick up, let's say, some vintage fabric, but there is lots of fabric at your local thrift and op shop stores. One other place you can check out is Facebook, believe it or not. You could go to Marketplace and just search quilting fabric and work out how far you want to travel to pick it up. They provide photos and all sorts. That's a really good way. And there are actually groups on Facebook. Search things like Quilting Fabric Destashing Group. And there's all sorts of group with people like you and me that just want to destash their fabric. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of it is designer fabric, and it's just a really great way for them to sell it and for you to buy it at a discounted rate. So those are my top tips to save money. I hope you found some of them helpful. And if you've got some other ideas that you'd like to share, please do leave them in the comments below, because I know I would like to know, and I'm sure everyone else would like to know too. That would be really helpful. What I'm going to do is put a link above for the mystery block of the month if you'd like to join me for that. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.